So this video is about how sugar affects your brain, especially after the age of 50. Most people already know that too much sugar can lead to weight gain or diabetes, but many don't realize what it does inside the brain. And here's the surprising part. Excess sugar can quietly speed up memory loss. It's not just about diet, it's about your long-term cognitive health. Multiple studies, including research from the journal Neurology, have linked high blood sugar levels with faster brain aging, even in people without diabetes. In this video, you'll learn how sugar affects the aging brain, why memory and focus suffer even if you don't feel sick, what kinds of sugar are most harmful, and which aren't the enemy, and simple ways to protect your brain without extreme diets. Let's start by understanding how sugar works in the brain. So, your brain on sugar. Here's a quick primer. The brain runs on glucose, which is a natural form of sugar. In fact, it's one of the only fuels your brain can use. But, that doesn't mean more is better. So, when you eat something sweet, your blood sugar rises. The body releases insulin to move that sugar into your cells. This is, totally normal. But over time, diets that are high in added sugars can lead to insulin resistance. That's when the body becomes less responsive to insulin signals. This affects the brain too. When brain cells don't respond properly to insulin, they just can't absorb the glucose they need. That creates a kind of energy crisis in the brain, even when your blood sugar is actually high. Some scientists have even called Alzheimer's disease type 3 diabetes because of this link between sugar, insulin, and memory loss. But that's not all. Sugar doesn't just disrupt energy in the brain, it also increases inflammation, a silent process that, over time, damages cells. In a 2017 study published in Scientific Reports, people with higher sugar intake had more markers of inflammation in the brain. This included elevated levels of cytokines, which are linked to cognitive decline and dementia. Chronic inflammation can shrink parts of the brain, including the hippocampus, the area responsible for forming new memories. MRI studies have shown that even in healthy adults, high sugar diets are associated with smaller brain volume. The scary part? These changes often happen before symptoms appear. That means someone can feel fine but still be losing memory capacity year after year. Have you ever felt mentally foggy after a big dessert? That's not your imagination. High sugar intake leads to spikes, then crashes, in blood glucose. These fluctuations can affect mood, energy, and mental clarity. For older adults, this becomes even more noticeable. The aging brain is more sensitive to chemical changes, including those caused by diet. One review in the journal Nutritional Neuroscience found that excess sugar was linked not only to memory problems, but also to symptoms of anxiety and depression in seniors. Sugar overload affects neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which regulate mood, motivation, and focus. It becomes harder to concentrate, and honestly, it's easier to feel tired, distracted, or emotionally flat. This mental fatigue is often mistaken for aging, when it's actually biochemical. The sneaky sugars hiding in your food can be, pretty surprising. Most people don't eat sugar by the spoonful. Instead, it sneaks in through processed foods, even ones that seem healthy. Here are a few common sources you might not expect: flavored yogurts, granola bars, low-fat salad dressings, store-bought soups and sauces, whole grain breads, and even so-called healthy cereals. These products often contain hidden sugars under names like dextrose, maltose, high-fructose corn syrup, rice syrup, and cane juice. According to the American Heart Association, adults should limit added sugar to about 6 teaspoons per day for women and 9 for men. But the average adult consumes more than double that, often without realizing it. This overload quietly wears down the brain's ability to function at its best. 5. Sugar and the risk of dementia. The long-term effects of high sugar intake go beyond daily brain fog. A large study published in the journal Diabetologia followed over 5,000 people for more than 10 years. It found that individuals with higher blood sugar levels, even without diabetes, had a greater risk of developing dementia. The researchers discovered that cognitive decline accelerated in people with poor glucose control. Even slightly elevated sugar levels over time can damage blood vessels in the brain, reduce blood flow, and impair the ability to form and retrieve memories. This means sugar may not only contribute to dementia, it can also make symptoms appear earlier and progress more quickly. So the takeaway is clear. Sugar doesn't just impact the body, it directly affects how the brain ages. Now let's talk about natural sugars versus added sugars. What's the difference? It's important to understand that not all sugar is harmful. Fruits, for example, contain natural sugars, but they also come with fiber, antioxidants, and nutrients that protect the brain. The danger lies in added sugars, the kind used to sweeten packaged foods, desserts, and drinks. These sugars are digested quickly. They spike blood sugar and insulin, fueling inflammation and oxidative stress. Natural sugars, especially from whole foods like berries or apples, don't have the same effect. In fact, some fruits have been shown to support cognitive health due to compounds like flavonoids, which reduce inflammation in the brain. So it's not about cutting out sugar entirely, it's about choosing the right kinds and limiting the rest. What you can do to protect your brain. The good news is, it's never too late to make changes. Your brain is always capable of healing and adapting, even in your 50s, 60s, and beyond. Here are a few simple, research-backed strategies to reduce sugar's impact on your brain. So first, read food labels carefully. Watch for hidden sugars, especially in options that say low-fat or healthy. Look for ingredients ending in ose or syrup. And it's always a good idea to choose whole foods over processed ones. Try to focus on meals you can actually recognize, like lean proteins, vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats. These kinds of foods really help stabilize blood sugar and reduce inflammation. Next, drink more water, not sugar. A lot of people end up having way too much sugar just from sweetened drinks, like soda, flavored coffee, fruit juices, or even bottled teas. Water, herbal teas, and unsweetened alternatives are just better for your brain health. And you'll want to watch your portions of sweets. You don't have to give up your favorite dessert forever, but maybe try sharing a portion, eating slowly, or saving sweets for special occasions. Another important step is to move your body. Physical activity helps regulate blood sugar, reduce insulin resistance, and improve circulation to the brain. And don't forget to prioritize sleep and stress management. Both sleep loss and chronic stress can increase cravings for sugary foods. Taking care of your rest and emotions really helps reduce your sugar intake naturally. These changes don't need to be dramatic. Even small improvements, made consistently, can protect your brain over time. It's not about guilt, it's about awareness. If you've eaten too much sugar in the past, you're not alone. Sugar is everywhere in modern life. It's easy to fall into the habit, especially when we're tired, stressed, or simply unaware. The goal isn't to feel ashamed, it's to feel empowered. Now that you know how sugar affects the brain and how to spot it, you can make better choices, one step at a time. You're not helpless, you're not broken. You're simply learning to care for your brain in a new way. So here are a few closing words. Excess sugar doesn't just expand the waistline, it affects memory, it impacts focus, and it may quietly speed up the aging of the brain long before we notice the signs. But with knowledge comes power. By reducing added sugar and supporting your brain with good habits, you can stay sharper, longer. You don't need perfection, you just need progress. And Silver Memory is here to walk with you, every step of the way. Thank you for watching. Take care of your brain, it's the only one